Good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock. I am Mayor Lawrence Rael, and I'm calling the Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 meeting to order. The time is approximately 6. This meeting is streamed on the village website. The public can also participate via Zoom. Instructions and overall public participation guidance is listed on the website and on page 4 of the meeting packet. Go to Ms. Danielle to give further direction or instructions on the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. The Village of Los Ranchos is providing the ability for the public to participate in hybrid meetings. As with any application, digital service, or software, the opportunity for failure can occur. Therefore, the village is not responsible for the inability to connect to the meeting, either by Zoom meeting link or viewing via live stream. The meeting is being recorded and will be available online after the meeting on the village website.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Benavides.
Here.
Trustee Kiefer. Here. Trustee Ranovich.
Here.
Trustee Reinau.
Here.
Very good. Will you all please stand and join me as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move for approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of the approval signify by saying yay.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. We'll move on. We are now at the point of general public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up for public comment tonight?
Thank you, Mayor, and Trustees. Our first individual is Mr. Henry Schonard. If you would, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
And as you're coming up, Henry, let me just make sure we're clear on our at least for you all and who all is speaking tonight. To be fair to others waiting to speak, a timekeeper will make an announcement and when the allotted time is up. Therefore, it is important to keep your comments short, and please plan on making your points as quickly as possible. No actions can occur on these items. If you have questions, please feel free to contact the staff here at the village during business hours, and we'll move forward. So go ahead, Henry.
Thank you. Yeah, Henry Schonard, 6603 Elwood Drive, Northwest. And I spoke at the last Board of Trustee meeting not too long ago, and I didn't realize I had met too much to cover. I would just like to repeat that I'm a volunteer at Los Ranchos Elementary, and I'm also on the advisory council of the Department of Senior Affairs. And I think of these two volunteering things that I do as complementary and in line with the age-friendly mission of the Department of Senior Affairs, intergenerational. So I basically, the vision that I have is to make Los Ranchos Elementary a community school as much as possible, and I've distributed what it is that a community school actually is able to do. I won't go through it. You can read it, trustees and mayor, but it really is it's, I think, of interest to you as leaders in the community to know that about what a community school is. I really, one of the main reasons I spoke last time, and I'll repeat it now, is I want to work with community members and in making Los Ranchos Elementary as much as possible a community school and a neighborhood school, which it used to be, no longer is. Parents here don't necessarily send their kids to the school for various reasons, but it's an issue. I'm looking ahead to the election of the APS board election, Albuquerque Public Schools, and will be able to vote on the representative for District Number 3, which is now held by the president of the board of the Albuquerque Public Schools. I think that's going to be an important election to getting the leadership of Albuquerque Public Schools to collaborate with the community in doing schools. That I think we're pretty clear that they've fallen short, and I'd like to see that happen. And that's one of the strategies of being a community school is collaborative leadership and practices. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jeff Phillips?
Good evening, Jeff Phillips, 605 Schulte Road, Northwest. A few notes on upcoming events in the village. The Agriculture Committee meets tomorrow at 3 p.m. at the Agri Nature Center. The next community walk is next Monday, July 21st at 6:15 p.m. We'll meet at the Shining River parking area, which is at 8601 Rio Grande Boulevard, and do an approximately 2-mile loop. Planning ahead, each of the next 3 months' walks will also be on the evening of the third Monday. So that's August 18th, September 15th, and October 20th. Next up, there is a public information meeting on the planning and engineering of the Middle Rio Grande levee improvements. And this is at the Raymond Sanchez Community Center, Monday, July 28th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And then lastly, the National Night Out is Tuesday, August 5th. And there are 2 open to the public events hosted by neighbors. One beginning at 6:30 p.m. is along the Pueblo Acequia between Pueblo Solano and Chamisal. Bob and Don Goy are hosting in their back right adjacent to the Acequia. And then at 7 p.m. at Edgewood Park, Judy and Henry and the neighborhood have been doing that one for a while. Edgewood Park is at Edgewood and Osuna. So mark your calendars, come on out to one or both of those. And then now on to a little less uplifting note for you guys. In September of last year with resolution 240905, this body took the severe action to declare the property at 605 Tascosa Lane Northwest a menace to the public comfort, health, peace, and safety. And you ordered the removal of any and all weeds, limbs, ruins, rubbish, wreckage, debris, refuse, and dangerous buildings from the property. You took this severe action of last resort because it is a severe situation, one that has existed for years. It's been years since the previous administration took the exact same action that you prescribed in September. It's now been 10 months since your resolution. Situation that you rightly deemed a public menace remains, and as you heard from Wendy and Sam last month, it actually continues to worsen. I see nothing in your resolution from September that says the village will only act if it can be guaranteed to recover the cost. The fact that a lien cannot be placed does not negate the situation, nor does it rescind your resolution. Please, on behalf of Tascosa, Schulte, Green Valley, and Guadalupe Trail neighbors, and all those who travel and recreate on the Rice Lateral, please act on your resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Teresa Real?
Teresa Rael, 1005 El Alhambra Circle. Mayor, trustees, residents, I would like you to consider placing a crosswalk across Rio Grande at El Portal. A lot of pedestrians and bicyclists cross this area to get to the park or to go west to the Acequias. And Saturdays, people are crossing to get to the growers market and the art market. My 98-year-old mother lives on the west side, and she walks the park every day when she can cross Rio Grande, because people just won't stop for pedestrians or bicyclists. And I have stood there trying to get across also. And it's not just for me or her. There's a lot of people that use that area to cross. So consider a crosswalk with signage. And on another note, I'd like to say thank you for the bocce ball court at Hartnett Park. A group of us play every Sunday at 8 o'clock. So if you're going to play, pick another time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and trustees. That concludes public comment.
Okay, very good. We'll now move to item 6, approval of the minutes. We need a motion to approve the minutes of June 24th, 2025. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
It's been moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second it. Oh,
Been moved and second. Any corrections or any additions to the minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Move forward. Thank you very much. We'll now move to item number 7, new business. Resolution number 2025-07-01. A resolution approving the 2024 final quarter fiscal report, year ending June 30th, 2025. We'll go to our CFO, Tammy Silva.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, trustees, before you is Resolution 2025-07-01 for the fiscal year 2025 final quarter financial report. This is a report that is due to the state through LGBMS, and it is a requirement for the state. What you're seeing here is the same thing we present every year. It's just a roll-up and a summary of all of our funds. And in the column number 8, cash plus investments, the bottom number can be tied to the cash report balance on page 72.
Okay, any questions? Do we need a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-07-01.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions?
Just one quick one.
Trustee Benavides?
So, yeah, Tammy, this is about the GO bonds. I know it's been explained to me, but you know, it just seems I always get confused, and if I get confused, I'm thinking the residents probably are confused as well. So line 401 GO bonds. The beginning cash balance is 10,500. Revenues 341K. So I'm assuming these are the bonds that we have to pay for, like the recent purchase of the Anderson house with the 24 acres. Is that correct?
Mayor and Trustee Benavides, that is correct. That's one of the bonds. The other bond is the 2007 bond that was for open space that was refunded in 2021. So there we have the two, and both of them are for open space.
So how is it that we have a beginning balance of 10,500 and the revenues of 341? I mean, don't we make monthly payments on this?
No, Mayor and Trustee Benavides, we do not make a monthly payment. We have 2 payments a year. In August, we pay our principal and our interest payment.
Okay.
And then in February, we pay an interest payment. And the $10,000 balance that you see starting it is interest that was earned off the bond. The payments, the revenue comes in from property tax, the $341,000, that's property tax revenue. And then the transfers that you see are transfers to cover the difference between what property tax does not cover in the GO bond. And that's how we get to the total for our expenditures.
So we're just getting ready for the August payment.
Mayor and Trustee Benavides, no, this is for last year's payment, the August payment in 2024 and the February payment in 2025. So this is what was actually paid during fiscal year 2025.
Sorry, but we similarly for this new fiscal year, we're getting ready for the August payment, and we would have money in that account for that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Okay. All right, any other questions? If not, I'm sorry. Trustee Ranovich, go for it.
Why don't you go to Trustee
okay.
Renaud?
Or Trustee Reno?
Sure. Yeah, I just had a comment here, and I know as part of the listing, there is a section here on lodger's tax. And I know we're not doing it right now, but this is something that I would certainly suggest that we take a look at more critically. You know, in order to generate income from, we know that there's lodging going on in the village. I'm not quite sure what the consequence is gonna be.
The B&Bs, right?
Yeah, right, yeah, with the B and Bs, so far. And so, but I'd like to make a suggestion, though, that we really investigate this in order to have some further discussion about it.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
I
Trustee?
had the same question, and I wondered why we even include it as a line item if we have no lodger's tax.
Mayor, Trustee Radnovich, this is a document provided from the state.
Got it. Okay. Environmental GRT, we don't have anything like that, do we?
No.
I didn't think so.
Okay. Yeah, board members, go ahead.
Mayor, sorry.
No, I was just gonna
Oh, that
simply
was
say,
it, yeah.
this is all just a prescriptive form. So they try and capture all the opportunities for every municipality, so that's, but
Yeah, I didn't
those are good questions, yeah, for sure. Okay, any other questions? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All
Mayor,
opposed? I'm
Sorry,
Oh, you have to
this
do
is a
roll call?
resolution.
Okay, let's go to our clerk then.
Thank you. Trustee Benavides.
Yes.
Trustee Kiefer.
Yes.
Trustee Ranovich.
Yes.
Trustee Raynow.
Yes,
Motion carries 4-0.
Very good. Go, next item is resolution number 2025-07-02. A resolution approving the budget adoption for fiscal year 2025/2026. Do we have a motion to, well, first let's go to Tammy for a presentation and then we'll go through the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. Trustees, before you is Resolution 2025-07-02. The resolution to approve the final budget for fiscal year 2026. You do have a handout in front of you that is slightly different from what was in the packet. In the handout I provided you, there are, in column D, which is the increase-decrease column, you will see 3 squares that are highlighted yellow. These are the 3 changes. There was a calculation error. However, this is only a variance column. It did not affect any of the actual budget numbers. It was just the variance between final budget of fiscal year 25 and the final budget of fiscal year 26. But before you is the final budget with consideration of everything we discussed in last month's meeting. And with this budget in front of you on the second to last page, which is the ending cash balance for the general fund, we have an excess of $162,000 that we anticipate for the end of the year. And then on the last page, which is the cash balance summary, you can see every fund here. And as you can see, we anticipate an excess of $172,000 between all the funds if this budget were to happen exactly as we are forecasting.
Okay, very good. Are there any other questions for our CFO on this budget?
I had called her yesterday and asked my questions, so I'm good.
Okay.
And I have 1 or 2.
All right, let's get a motion to, on the floor first, and then we'll go to discussion. We have a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-07-02.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved in a second. Trustee Reno. I mean, sorry, Ranovich, pardon me.
Oh.
I was looking at,
If you have one-
I was looking at Frank and asking George.
We look really similar.
Sorry about that.
Is this also a form that we get?
Mayor and Trustee Radovich, no, this is a spreadsheet that I have to put together.
So this is it's just questions about, do we really need some things? For instance, the Los Ranchos merchandise, which is on the first page, 34 880101. We don't really sell it. The only thing, I'm guessing, it's the merchandise that's in that case right here behind the,
Mayor and Trustee Radnovich, no, so this line item was created back with the Larry Abraham administration.
Oh.
There was actual merchandise available for purchase, license plates, polos with the logos, different items. Back then, there was actually items available for someone to come in and purchase. That is no longer the case. We have a few license plates left, I believe, and we have had someone come in on occasion to purchase those. So that is why that line item is there if one of those were to sell. But as you can see, there's nothing budgeted there because we don't actively try to sell any merchandise.
so can we just lose the line?
Yeah, we could do that. It's a zero
I mean,
balance,
unless we have
so
an interest in selling merch, it seems like, I don't know, why bother, I guess. I had the same question about animal licenses and fees. I question how many people have animals in Los Ranchos that they don't license because the fees add up to $80. So I wondered if we even wanted to do that and just rely on Bernalillo County. Just a thought. The other one that I thought seemed pretty low, and you know, maybe it's something we want to do in the future more, but the film permit fees are, you know, $800. It seems like, why bother? You know, I get if someone came to us, there would be fees there, but it's pretty low. So I think we talked about this in a meeting earlier this year or late last year. I'm just remembering.
We raised the fees.
We did, yeah.
You raised it.
So
Mayor
just
Trustee
doesn't seem like
Radnovich,
much.
if I may add on that line item. So one of the reasons that we have this in revenue is, and we only have it at $800, is because we don't know what's gonna come through. However, the actuals for this past year was about $12,000. So if something does come through, you're only looking at budgeted numbers.
Got it.
So,
Thank you.
And I would just maybe add, trustee or trustees all told, I think what Tammy is doing here with this budget is just including all the line items where we've had revenues and or we have to budget. So if someone comes in and does buy a license plate, they actually know where to put the revenue that's generated from that sale. So to your point, Trustee Radnovich, yeah, getting rid of it would be fine. That would end up probably in the miscellaneous category, which is not a lot of money, but if it's a question of just sort of streamlining how it presents, I mean, we can certainly go back and look at maybe even condensing some of those line items and putting them under a broader structure. But I think it was partly, most likely historical in the sense of how the village is budgeted before. But anyway.
It just made me think, do we want to promote that?
Sure.
So that we make more money from it? Or are there things we can change about the way we do things at the village that might bring in more money? So
Fair enough.
Just a thought.
Okay.
I was also wondering on page 23, there's line 45, or it's account 45, 9, 11, 101, 1700 for $59,000. Is that like Mr., is it Brennan or is it someone like him that?
Mayor and Trustee Radnovich, so yes, that's a professional services line item for any planning and zoning contract professional services that we might have.
I see. So this could have been included last year when we went through the cluster housing. Yep.
That is
Yeah.
correct, yes.
Got
It
it.
would be any work that was done on that, in planning and zoning specifically.
Right. Yeah. And then I saw under professional services, under general administration, like 39,000 for professional services, and then contract labor. Is that like help with the Agri-Nature Center and things like that?
Mayor and Trustee Radnovich, you said under the 1840 department?
I'm sorry, yeah, it's under 1840, and one line is 45,151, and the other line is 45,911.
Okay, thank you. Mayor, Trustee Radnovich, so these are two different type of services. The 45-155, that professional services is going to be several different services that are for more village-wide items. So if we need transcription services or any professional services we're contracting out, that's village-wide as a whole. The 45911, that is more towards contractors such as like Maria,
I see, got it.
so.
Okay,
And that's it.
that's it. Any other questions from any of the other trustees? Nope. All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll go to the clerk to call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Trustee Benavides?
Yes?
Trustee Kiefer?
Yes.
Trustee Ranovich?
Yes.
Trustee Reinao?
Yes.
Motion carries 4 in favor.
Very good. We'll now move to item C, resolution number 2025-07-03, a resolution stating the participation in local government road fund program administered by the New Mexico Department of Transportation. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yes, motion to approve resolution number 2025-07-03.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Very good. We'll go to Ms. Rinaldi for a presentation.
Mayor, Board of Trustees, I need a point of clarification from Madam Clerk, please. I just have the resolutions I wrote, and I have the agenda. Can you tell me, is C maps or is it co-op? Can you tell me which? Is it,
C is maps.
so C is L 300-393. Is that correct?
What was the number, Maria?
367,859 was the total project cost, and I believe
Oh, that's, okay.
that is co-op, and the one for 1 million is
D? So I have that, okay,
D.
okay, got it,
So maps first, co-op second. Opposite?
opposite.
Okay, I don't know.
That's okay.
She's nodding at me differently, so.
Great. So the first one is control number 300-391, correct? In a total project cost of $367,859?
No, this is the opposite. This is, the control number on this is 393.
Okay, 393. Danielle, you were correct.
1.2 million.
Okay, so the first resolution in front of you is for a new program that Administrator John Avila and Keene submitted an application for pavement rehabilitation on Rio Grande Boulevard. And that project is, for a total project cost of $1,240,451, the required share for the public entity for the Village of Los Ranchos is $310,113. This cooperative agreement terminates on June 30th, 2027. And even though it was submitted for a specific asphalt rehabilitation, repaving project, the scope of the agreement allows for planning, design, construction, reconstruction, pavement rehabilitation, construction management, drainage, and miscellaneous improvements. So this resolution is asking for approval for the mayor's signature to enter into the cooperative agreement in that amount for that term and for that scope.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Trustee Kiefer.
Thank you, Maria. Question for you, the 2027 date, does that mean that's when all of the funds need to be expensed by or spent by?
Mayor, Madam, it is that the project needs to be closed out. All exhibits, full reimbursement request, acceptance of the project, and file ready for audit. So the funds generally have to be expended a good 30 to 45 days prior to that date.
Okay. And miscellaneous improvements, can that also include speed mitigation efforts?
Mayor, Madam Trustee, it absolutely can. Miscellaneous is anything that is not included, that is specific here. It can be signage, it can be traffic analysis, it can be signalization, it can be any number of things, yes. Anything that is inherent into an accepted design that is not specifically stated in that scope.
Perfect. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I have some.
Trustee Ranovich.
Thanks, Mayor. I appreciate that, you know, Maria and yourself are good at getting money from DOT. I don't really see, I mean, other than the traffic that we get there, what repaving, other than if there are interventions about slowing people down and so forth, there needs to be. And so could you explain more? I mean, it's a relatively new asphalt cover that we have there. There's not many problems with it. So if you could explain a little bit about what you have in mind. Rio Grande Boulevard is a really important road for the village. I think it's iconic in the state and maybe the region because of what it represents. Even the Buffalo Curve represents agricultural lines that were drawn many decades, if not centuries ago, by farmers. So I'm really worried that having DOT touch parts of a boulevard that are so iconic with interventions that may not be appropriate from a cultural and historic perspective, how that should be handled and what you actually have in mind.
Mayor Trustee Radnovich, this is for pavement rehabilitation. This money is for, it was submitted as a pavement rehabilitation project. This is a repaving project and nothing more.
I thought maybe I'm confused. I thought that Trustee Kiefer just asked if it could include interventions like traffic calming.
Mayor Trustee Radnovich, what she asked was if the scope, when it says miscellaneous, what does that mean? But what was submitted by the village for application was for a rehabilitation that's been on the board for repaving for at least 10 years, Mr. Administrator.
Trustee Radnovich, board. It has been on, I can say 10 years, it has been on there for at least the 5 years. And I wasn't here those years, but it's been something that's been on the street program, which is looking at all the streets and which ones are gonna come up next. It had previously had design work for rehabilitation. That's one of the reasons we were able to put it through, because we had that design work as far as getting the, what's it gonna cost, the estimates.
That was the 700,000 that the mayor mentioned a month or two ago? Is that right?
No.
I'm not sure, it may be
I'm a little
part of that.
confused.
But the road is alligatored, usually alligatored, and that's when it starts coming up in chunks. It's crisscrossed by, it being broken up. So it does have some of that going on. That is a place where we're having to pothole, replace on a regular basis. And it's, it's ready for rehabilitation, and those usually last about 20 years if you don't do any remediation like crack seal and that sort of stuff. So that's about what you get on a busy street, and it's one of our busier streets.
So to ask again, do you have in mind to do interventions like traffic calming circles and things like that?
Mayor Trustee Radnovich, this is just for pavement rehab. That's what this agreement is for. That's what DOT awarded the money for.
So the miscellaneous that Trustee Kiefer asked about is not part of it?
That is just part of the language and the scope that they gave us that covers what it is we applied for money for, but could also include. This is only enough money to do the pavement rehabilitation.
So then what is your intention for the engineering work on the road? Just
Mayor, trustee,
rehabilitation
this,
or not the
what is
miscellaneous?
before you, this is just, the profile has already been set, the estimate has already been made. This is, we have a guarantee of a 20-year life cycle on this asphalt, so it will be bid as a repavement. There's no engineering on this project.
So this is just going
This is
to a
repavement.
construction company?
Yes, a company that does, it will be determined through potholing whether or not it'll be a mill and overlay, if it will be a full-depth reclamation, whatever it is we have money for that gives us the best outcome for a final pavement product.
So then, if we come back later with another proposals, one of which I think was in our ICIP, to do a roundabout at Ortega, or traffic circle at Rio Grande and Chavez, or something else at the Buffalo Curve. That would be done after a repaving project. So we'd basically cut into that repaving project to do other interventions that are traffic calming?
Mayor, Trustee Radnovich, this is not the entirety of Rio Grande Boulevard. As you know, it's $1 million a mile to repave. This is sections that were identified as having reflective cracking, alligatoring, buckling, potholing, those types of things. This is sections of, and the administrator could better describe those sections. I know that there's a section north of Montano. This, I don't believe this touches the Buffalo Curve. John, if you would, please.
Yeah, could you give us an idea of what the sections
The
are?
termini on that are Montano, or the edge of village in Rio Grande, to Chavez. That's where we put it. Now, we come up, let's just say something's there that we can't forecast. We might come up short of Chavez, it might be back, or we might come up with more money to take care of it. So if we have some unknown cost, which is doubtful because it's pretty simple, we're just gonna pull it up, lay it back out. But we do need some design work, and so don't leave that as far as just making sure that we are cleared on the bugs and buns, all the environmental stuff that you would have on the edge of road and so forth. We need to make sure that those are taken care of. So it's not just construction. It's not just pulling it up and laying it back down.
So, Mayor, Trustee John, if I may. So what happens next is once the mayor enters into this agreement, we go back to the quoters, by which those who quoted the work to be had. We ask them for a updated bid quote on this work, and depending on how that comes in, we make a determination on what the final scope will be. Okay, so this is we had a quote, that's what we used in the application format. It's awarded. Now NMDOT wants to make sure the quote is still good, sufficient, and held by the quoter.
And who is the quoter that we picked?
Albuquerque Asphalt, I believe. Is it, who was it that you submitted, John?
Maybe we should get a quote on a new microphone.
Yeah, I believe it was Albuquerque Asphalt is the quote, but it's going to be reassignment to a contractor. Doesn't necessarily mean it's that contractor. So the procurement didn't happen with that particular quote. What happened was, here's the estimate on what construction takes.
So we could get any paving contractor that's on the NMDOT list.
It doesn't have to be on an NMDOT list. It's
Anywhere.
It's any qualified contractor. So yeah, there's some that might not pass, checking, their qualifications or history or whatever. But it is not one particular. They did not get an RFP awarded. This is an estimate. We can go back to these folks that have given us estimate and say, are those prices still good? Say, oh no, labor's gone up, or asphalt or whatever. They can tell us you're going to be shy on your project either by dollars or by feet. So that's what we've had to deal with, and, you know, just, what is it called, value engineer at that point.
Right, I know all those terms. So it's possible we could get, I'll not name names, but there are some asphalt contractors out there that
So may
may
I,
not want working on our Rio Grande Boulevard.
may I, John?
That's why we go through an RFP process or selection process.
So the way that it works in the municipal arterial program is they will accept the quote that we submitted if they will hold the price. Now, that's determined by our procurement officer and to see if that works with the internal form of procurement that we use. Her determination may be that this is a for bid project. If that is the case, we will do a formal bid on this project. I would assume it's probably going to be that at this amount of money. That's not that would be an internal requirement, okay? We are a low bid state. We do not have disqualifications for, like you, I wish sometimes we did, for contractors, but they have to be able to meet the bonding requirement, the licensing requirement, they have to be able to work through the wage rate requirements. They have all of that. They have to meet those requirements, whomever it may be. We're not at that point yet. At this point, we're asking for the authority of the Board of Trustees to have the mayor sign the agreement so that we can proceed. And then we do internally, we do the environmental and the cultural review. We do all that internally. So that's not part of this funding. That's not part of it. This is literally pavement
Okay,
rehab.
so are you going to bring before us the other parts of Rio Grande Boulevard? What, I mean, we already have the plans for a contractor to bid this part, right?
I understand that we have a profile, a paving profile. Yes, so
they'll bid on the profile.
they'll bid on the profile.
And they won't be watched over by,
Well, there'll be inspectors.
there'll be inspectors for the village.
Yes.
That will be engineers.
Not necessarily.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. Well, what I'm trying to get at is there any changes that are gonna be made to the street that could affect it in negative ways?
So, good question, Mayor. That's why we go through the environmental and the cultural review, to identify any potential negative impacts on existing environmental content in the area so that we don't create spoilings in a wetlands, for example, or we don't shake a historic building foundation. We go through we do that on the crack seal and repaving. We do it on the co-op. That happens regardless of what the project is. So yes, that we have to make sure that there is no mitigation of negative potential consequences that we're responsible for.
And if they come up with something that changes the street, will that come before us?
So Mayor,
or the
Trustee
village
Radonovich,
community.
we don't anticipate that. This is in existing right of way. It is literally within the existing profile of the road. Think of this as just a much larger version of all the paving projects we're doing now. It is literally that same process.
If I might, Trustee Ranovich, you and I shared a conversation about this. It might be maybe more practical for us just to, what would you like to see happen? Because I think what you and I have shared is that, look, and I don't disagree with you, and I think 90% of the residents won't disagree with you. It is a historical road. It is an important amenity for our community. This grant in particular is state money to help us repave that road. What you, I think, and I have talked about informally has been looking at opportunities to ensure that that road historical significance is honored.
Yes.
And that when we have opportunities to make modifications to the road, whether they're road diets or whether they're roundabouts or what other mitigation measures, that we can do that and make sure that we aren't giving ourselves or putting ourselves in a situation where we can't make that happen. In this case, this is just all about just basically resealing or repaving the existing road and existing right-of-way. I do think that conversation that you and I have had informally is the next step that we ought to talk about at a future meeting, because keep in mind, by the time you get all the paperwork in place, I am assuming this is gonna take, like a lot of other DOT projects, probably 5 to 6 months to get going. And we've got to go through a bid process. We do have, just for purposes of the community's understanding, in order to apply for these funds, we've had to have a quote based from a certified contractor that we can determine why we're asking for the amount of money that we're asking for this project. So this quote that we have, although it's dated, it was enough, it was close enough to give the DOT comfort that based on what they've seen so far, that it's reasonable for the mile that we're talking about. But within that mile, there are some important items for us to look at. And I would, again, commit to you and to the village and to the trustees, look, as we get to those areas, we will have that conversation to figure out, and now that we have some designers and architects, et cetera, on our, if you will, on our list of opportunities to hire, I think we should be looking at some of those, which goes back to the conversation we had, what was it, 2 weeks ago or so with the ICIP, looking to get some state funds potentially for some design work and maybe dovetailing those into this project in a way that would make sense to ensure that we're not just, that we're not giving this an opportunity to be a better road than it is today. That's really, I think that's really where you're.
Yeah, you answered my questions well.
Yeah.
And Trustee Benavides, it has nothing to do with engineers.
Although they all.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Radonovich.
I just have one further question.
Trustee Renner.
And what I was looking at, though, is the term of this is June of '27. Given the fact that we have to go out for bid, given the fact that the state's going to take their time in terms of approval, what's the likelihood of us being able to meet that June 27 deadline?
Mayor, Trustee Radnovich, once we have our environmental and cultural, sorry, right now. The mayor
I
started
know I'm
me off
always
on
the one
that,
asking
sorry.
questions.
It will be well within that. It is a repave project. They are really good at local road fund administration. They turn things around very quickly. Not so much on some of their other programs, but on maps and co-op, they certainly do. I have full confidence that this will be just fine. The longest thing will be the cultural and environmental review. And that takes about 3.5 months. And we can start that as soon as we have an executed agreement back from NMDOT.
So then the other question, and Mayor, you may know this. I mean, right now it's 1.2 mil. If they come back with a statement that says 1.4 mil, that can put us back.
I would defer to Maria's expertise, but it's been my if you'll experience. You only get as far as the money takes you. So it may be we end up halfway between the Buffalo Curve and some other place. But yeah, we'll have to see what that looks like. I would also say, look, the DOT is usually pretty good about if we're that close to what the termini was of augmenting the contracts. And look, this straddles basically 2 fiscal years for us budgetary wise. So there's also an opportunity for us. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but I do want to make sure that, again, I think, the idea of ensuring that we're doing this in a, sensitive way to what this facility is for us, and actually even for the state, is important, so.
Just one last thing there. What I was getting at before with one of my statements was just, you often see a road get built, and then 2 months later, somebody comes in and cuts it for whatever. So just trying to avoid that too.
Absolutely, and this is why these companies that are coming in to want to bring in fiber, et cetera, it's so important that we have a structure. And of course, if they're coming in now and they cut it now and we come back and reseal it, then we'll be in good shape. But what really is important, we can't predict when someone's gonna sell a piece of property, and all of a sudden, they're on the opposite side of where the water and sewer lines are, and they cut across.
Oh, sure, but if we decide
Right.
a roundabout should be built somewhere later, then looks like, God,
Right.
what are these guys doing?
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, all of that being said, are we all good on this?
I'm good.
Remember if we have a motion?
We have a motion on the table. We'll go to clerk for the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Trustee Benavides?
Yes.
Trustee Kiefer?
Yes.
Trustee Radnovich?
Yes.
Trustee Reinao?
Yes.
4 in favor.
Very good, thank you very much. Now we go to resolution number 2025-07-04, a resolution stating the participation in the local government road fund program administered by the New Mexico Department of Transportation. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve 2025-07-04.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. We'll now go to Ms. Rinaldi to present the resolution.
Mayor, trustees, this is a program you're very familiar with. This is our 6th allocation of cooperative funds for crack seal and repavement. And the department has awarded us $275,894 with the public entity share of $91,965 for a total project cost of $367,859. The terms of this agreement expires December 31st, 2026. And it is, again, they give us a scope that includes a whole lot of things, but this is crack seal and repavement on various roads. Now, we will take the amount of our award because it is less than we requested, and we will go back to those crack seal companies and asphalt companies who gave us quotes and see if those quotes are still good and adjust accordingly. In addition to that, we have committed in this agreement to a 25% share. We budgeted in excess of 25%, yet to be determined in the final allocation, and may have a bar adding money to this for a higher match to cover what was requested and not funded. You will see that, but at this point in time, it is for a total project cost in this amount that will give us crack seal and I believe payment of one section of a roadway yet to be determined. But we have the list of streets off the ICIP for roadway improvements, and staff will work through that, and you will have a road list as soon as we have that.
Okay. Any questions on this?
None, I have none.
All right, and seeing no questions, we'll go to the clerk for the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Trustee Benavides?
Yes?
Trustee Kiefer?
Yes.
Trustee Radnovich?
Yes.
Trustee Reinao?
Yes.
4 in favor.
Very good. We'll now go to approval of a lease by and between the Village of Los Ranchos de Albuquerque and the State of New Mexico Legislative Council. Do we have, we'll go to Mr. Avila to explain this lease so that you all, and then we'll move to the motion.
Mr. Mayor, Board, we have made room for the Legislative Council offices here in this building, and the program at the estate has funding now to enter into leases starting this fiscal year. So that's we're in that month right now. The lease here is for $1,500 per month, and that's above what the market is in Albuquerque, at least, which is about $15 to $25 per square foot, and you're looking at about $45 per square foot on this. So as far as that goes, it's beneficial, but we started off with it being beneficial for the community so that they get to visit with their legislators, and also that those legislators can have meetings here in the building close by, and we also have access to them.
So with that, do we have a motion to approve the lease?
I'll motion to approve the lease.
It's been moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other questions?
I do have a question or two.
I have none.
Trustee Ryan.
So
I mean, Radnovich, excuse me. Pardon me.
Should we switch seats?
You know, all the Rs are on this side, can I say, Ratnevich, Rena. So, anyway, sorry, George, go ahead.
That's okay. It says it's adjacent to the fire station. Are we talking about the fire station that used to be here, or the fire station over on 4th Street?
Board members, Mr. Mayor, we have a fire station here. It's a substation. We house a vehicle, we get fire funds, so it's right next to that in the southeast corner
Of this building?
of this building.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Subletting, so that's a big room. Are we leasing to just one or two legislators?
There are 2 legislators and staff in
And their staff, I see.
that
Got
office.
it. Got it. Once I saw the space, it looked pretty big. Okay, I have no other questions. Thank
All
you.
right. All right, any other questions by anyone? All in favor of the motion to approve the lease, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Very good, thank you very much. And now we'll move on to item number 8, Chief Financial Officer Report and Administrator's Report. So we'll go to Tammy. Tammy?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, trustees, before you is the cash report for the year end, excuse me, for the month June 30, 2025. Our ending cash balance is $14,307,449.83. This is a decrease from last month of $97,190.88. However, the year-to-date excess of revenue over expenditure that we are ending with is $1,879,102.12. And with the closeout of the end of the year, there were several unusual or significant items, just trying to wrap up and get as many invoices paid by year end as possible so they didn't bleed into the new fiscal year budget. And we also made the 3 transfers that we had budgeted for at the beginning of the year. We made them in June, and you can see those as the first item on that page. And if I stand for any questions.
Any questions of Ms. Silva?
Just a comment. I mean, it's interesting to see our GRT climbing upwards, I mean, which is good news for us.
It is indeed. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Ms. Silva. Now we'll go up to Mr. Avila for departmental updates.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I was still
Trustee
looking at
Ranovich?
I just had one question. I've been worried about FEMA since January, and even more so today than then. And I noticed we have a FEMA fund, and it worries me that FEMA might be going away. And so I wondered about that, if we should put that into some other kind of vehicle or save it aside for some other use, because we may not have a FEMA soon.
Mayor, Trustee Radnovich, so those FEMA funds, we cannot move to anything else. They are specific federal funds.
I see.
However, we are planning to completely close that out and have those funds expended by September. So we should be okay with that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
All right, go back to Mr. Avila.
Mayor, Board of Trustees. Starting out the report, we have recently been able to move our 4th Street project office to what's known as historically La Congo building. And that is approximately $20,000 a year savings over leasing. And this was done by being able to mitigate that property, basically bring it to a status where it can be used as an office. And there's several steps in that. We have other buildings there as well that we want to make sure are not lost, wasted, if they just fell apart. So we can mitigate those and bring them to some use while we're working on the open space out there. And some of the things we've done in the open space is to take care of irrigation that we needed to have, and water resource that we also needed to have for fire safety, while we're able to put in a sewer system. So the fire department had to review our water source, that we had enough water for the expected bathrooms just to connect to a sewer. So that's just the difficulties that we've had in doing that. But by doing that, we'll have the ability to modernize and get bathrooms out there. And then we've also drilled an experimental, or a test well, not experimental well, a test well, because we had to reassign some groundwater water rights to a different property so that we could assign the purchased water rights in its totality to the Agri-Nature Center. So there's a limit. So that's in the works, but we did need a well out there to place those in. So that's some of the work that's gone out there, open space. There will be, again, improvements to irrigation. And then at the Agri-Nature Center, we've recently been awarded the water conservation, or being able to get our water delivery either piped or in concrete, or sealed delivery. So that's coming up, and so we just have started that process. And then there's an application to start again to ask for more, ask for more grant funding for water rights at the Water Trust Board level. And so we'll be looking at what we can do there at the open space. So all of this will be kind of building on each other so that we have some water resilience here for the village properties. And we have been working to update our code. We've recently had the criminal code changed so that we can deal with camping on village properties. And we have worked through some other changes here, and those are for your review. Community facilities, again, we've done some improvements at the Old Village Hall to the scale and the wishes of the community, which is to save Old Village Hall as a building and give amenities there at the site. So we've been doing that, and we'll continue doing that here with the new fiscal year and the ability to contract and get some work done there. Working through our ICIP process, we've all experienced that recently. It takes a while, but it's, again, a cycle that we do all year long. So as people give their interest and priority, and as we develop our projects, some of those will change. And we have just done that recently and entered into the system. And by the way, entering into the system takes about 10 hours. So we needed to have those in place so that we could do that. It's just a lot of entry. Let's see. At the Agri-Nature Center, we have the Wellness Week next week, which is how we're participating in the Lavender Festival. And there's many attractions there, including a herbal garden, and then they're also having a meal catered in the fields that people are able to participate in. In planning, zoning, code enforcement, you'll take a look there. We're starting to, we want to produce our court and caseload so that you can see that on a monthly basis, so that you see that right as far as it's a number of the number of cases. We're addressing the number of cases that we have resolved, and that usually helps with a lot of just it's conversation and follow-up. So a good majority of our cases are getting solved by just working with folks and not having to go any further. And, you have before you the rest of the reports. I know one of the things that's been very helpful is the work that Fred has done with homeowners associations and basically the Neighborhood Watch program that's sort of commingled there. And that's been really helpful for getting people to communicate what the needs are in their communities. And I'll leave it at that if there's any questions.
Any questions, Mr. Avila?
I have
Okay, Trustee Benavides?
I have two questions, one for John Avila and one for Fred Radosevich. So we have a Radosevich, we had a Radnovich, and we have a Renau. There's really no hope for us,
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
You watch it.
So, yeah, so we're putting a well at the Del Norte open space, correct?
That's correct.
And I think I saw in the budget, $77K for that. It must be a pretty hefty well, I'm assuming. Like, do you know what the casing is and the depth of that is?
I couldn't tell you that. Okay. We know that it was a really good well at a good depth.
Okay.
We can certainly get you that number, though.
Okay, yeah, okay. I can wait for that, but just curious. And then, so my next question would be for Fred. Oop. Let's see.
Fred's getting his steps in.
Let's see, Fred, yeah. I think oh, yeah, okay, it's on page 91. So I'll just read what was in here from your report. It is time again to begin the process of updating the mitigation plan, a recurring 5-year cycle. This time Burnco will take the lead on applying for funds and as a fiscal agent. Last cycle, City of Albuquerque did, and we contributed. Can you just tell me more about what this mitigation plan is all about, what it encompasses?
Mayor and Trustee, that's really not mine, that's Jeff Phillips, but I can answer that for you.
Thank you.
Every 5 years or so, they put a mitigation plan together for all of Bernalillo County. And the last time Albuquerque took the lead, this time Bernalillo County's taken the lead. And usually what they ask the village for is, number one, a letter of support to help do that. And some small funding. I think we're probably going to look at $5,000 or $6,000 as our share. The state funds 90% of it, and then Bernalillo County and Albuquerque fund the rest of it. And what that does is redo our entire emergency operations plan for the entire county.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask you what sort of events we're mitigating, but anything that's emergency related.
So this plan is probably about 2 inches thick, but it's a very thorough plan that they redo every 5 years or so.
Thank you, Fred.
Sure.
Yeah, this plan, as Fred said, deals with the Bosque, with any issues associated primarily because of the concerns everyone has in the corridor. But it can
Floods
also,
too, I assume, right?
and floods, it can and deal with levees, improvements, and other mitigation issues or other issues that could create a problem for the municipalities and or the county in the region. Okay, now any other questions? Trustee Renau, I finally get to ask you.
And I guess it's not in the report here, but and it's something that Trustee Benavides was referring to just in terms of water. I know that we hired an attorney to take a look at water rights across the village. What's the status of that report, and where do we stand then in terms of the water rights that have already been identified?
We don't have a report for water rights across the village. We do have an expert that has worked with the village before, working on transferring water rights. And they can, and we've talked about it, find out what what else is out there for the village as far as water rights are concerned.
So at this point then, have you received any kind of update in terms of what's been going on, in terms of what they found?
There are other opportunities for purchasing water rights, which I think the village is interested in. That's a general statement that's available. We have to work with those.
Are you talking about that purchase agreement we did like a year and a half ago? Yeah. Yeah. Is there and you're asking for a status?
Status report, okay. It is before the state engineer at this point, and it takes what it takes there. There's no, once it's submitted, it has to go through their process and review.
So I think maybe to get more clarity on this, Trustee Renaud and members of the board, we are in negotiations. We've negotiated for the purchase of water rights as per that resolution. It is now, as Mr. Avila said, it's with the state engineer to verify that the water rights are certified, if you will, through the state process. Once that is done, then we will move forward with the actual procurement of those water rights, which is what goes to that conversation about the drilling of the well at the Del Norte open space, right? We needed to make sure that those water rights are going to be used in certain locations, and so that's what that's all about. So to answer your question, we're hopefully months away from getting this done, if not sooner. But I am as eager as you are, and I know that Trustee Benavides has been point on this with folks looking for water rights, and he did find someone, and I think we're getting close. So I'll be happy to report to you all as soon as that transaction is consummated. Okay. Any other questions?
Mayor, I have a couple.
Go ahead,
Don't mind.
Trustee Kiefer.
Yeah, I changed it from the R's.
You did indeed.
Fred, I was looking at the trending of the Excel spreadsheet that you put together for us, and thank you for doing that. It helps kind of, but it looks like things are starting to kind of trend up, but mainly with suspicious people. Is that just a call? Usually someone calls sheriff saying this person's suspicious, and then that's how this is captured? Or is it a actual interaction with the person and they're not suspicious after all?
Mayor, Trustee Kiefer, you can blame Teresa Rael for that. That's part of the neighborhood watch, or the neighborhood groups that we've been meeting on, is trying to get people, if they see something suspicious, call it into the sheriff's office. And we've seen that number keep going up and up and up. So that can just be somebody, you saw in the neighborhood that just didn't look like they belong there, or you've never seen them in your cul-de-sac before, and those are the types of reports that go to the sheriff's office. So through her emails and stuff that she's sending out to these different groups, people are starting to call it in more.
Okay, all right, so we want to see those go up.
Yes.
Okay, I was just curious as to whether or not they were identified truly as suspicious. Thank you, I think that's all I had for you. John, real quick on planning and zoning and permits that are issued. Is this just numbers that are issued? Is this what has been applied for? Sorry, I'm on page 88, if that helps you.
This report is let me see where we are. Now, the business renewals, those are issued as well as applied for. Yeah, that's pretty much the case throughout. Let me just see. I don't see anything that's out of, that would have been applied for and it has not been issued. I don't have that.
Okay, so essentially 5 year to date, two in June for commercial construction. Okay, all right. The only other question is, and this is probably something I should have learned a long time ago, and never asked, and that's my fault, is when someone applies for whatever project they're gonna do, how many steps does our planning and zoning enforcement officer go on site to verify that that project is what is actually taking place? Or does that not happen?
So here's, I've seen like a setback check may have happened, but it's not in the field, check at this point. I mean, there's not that much of that going on. I have seen like, setbacks, being checked, previously.
Okay. Mayor, maybe you can help me. City of Albuquerque, I know there's certain steps, right, when you are gonna build a, I don't know, garage or whatever, add on to your house. You know, there's the different permits you have to get and inspections at each phase. Are those city inspections or are those?
In Albuquerque, because of the home rule status, obviously they do all, that's all a one-stop shop within the Department of the Planning Department. But in Bernalillo County, outside the unincorporated area, and it's usually the county, and again, because state facilities are not in either municipality or they're in the county, but they go through construction industries. For example, the University of New Mexico, APS, some of those facilities don't go through the city. So it's a little bit of a jurisdictional, if you will, decision about how those are done.
Okay. And I guess I'm just kind of curious because maybe that's something, I don't know, in the future we need to look at to control our own, you know, kind of going back to that idea of we outsource a lot of our services. How do we protect the culture of our village? How do we protect the design, the look, the everything is really by getting people boots on the ground with each project that's being applied for. Because what would stop someone from saying, hey, I'm gonna apply for an internal remodel and it turn out to be something completely different than what my application says? What type of checks and balances are there? So, I don't know, just something, as I'm learning through this process, that we should probably look at or consider.
Well, I would just say to you, and Trustee Kiefer, and again to the, all of us intuitively know that we have those, at least when I was at the city, when they would give that responsibility to the planning department. But just so you're not too surprised, even the planning department sometimes is surprised of what was approved and what actually got built.
Sure.
Because it's just, it's obviously a huge city and lots of things going on. However, I get the point you're getting at, and that is that we tend to do a in-house review. We typically go to Google Earth or go to one of those, if you will, most updated applications that we can get, mostly so we can be as efficient as possible because we don't have staff to go out and do the on-site investigations. However, if there is a reason to do that, we now have a person that we can assign to go out and look at those sort of things. But once it's built and it's been permitted, et cetera, did the contractor build what they actually presented? And did we go back out there and verify that? I will say to you, we don't have the staff to do that, and we probably only do that if, again, and it's unfortunate, if someone reports that as, wait a minute, these folks say they were going to build a garage and they ended up building a church or what have you.
Sure.
You know, and that's an exaggeration, but my point simply is that we don't typically do the follow-up, and that's sort of one of those issues that we probably should have a conversation. It might require additional staff, or it may just require a contractor that we hire on a case-by-case basis on some of those issues that you know that we believe or that we feel are significant enough that warrant a review. But yeah, that's simply what is the case at this point. Am I correct on that, John?
That's fairly accurate. We'll check a few things. And as I said, there was a setback. That's a pretty easy measurement. You walk out there and check that. So
And there's no doubt that we have a lot of work to do too with the ordinances in our building. So, I mean, I think, you know, I'm not just trying to dump this all on staff, so please don't take it that way. We've got a lot of work to do, but it's the only thing that I think we have within our purview and our control to be able to really affect the aesthetics of our own identity.
Okay, any other questions? My word, George, that's no questions.
Right to the next item.
Let's go to the next item. I'm just kidding. But anyway, let me close out this portion of our agenda by saying our next meeting as a board is not till middle of August. We have a new planning director that will be starting next week. Is that right, Danielle?
Yes, sir.
And this individual has been involved in planning for a long time. And I think it was, normally we like to bring this individual, or at least as close to the date of their hire for you all's approval. But in this case, because of the timing and her availability to take the job, it happens, you know, next week. And so it would be that she would be on the job for about 3 weeks before we all, but I'm assuming we can divulge. Is that right, Danielle? We can simply say who that person is? Or would you wait for, or you want to wait to see if she shows up on Monday?
Yeah, I always have that feeling of jinxing ourselves. We've done this before and approved it before the Board of Trustees, and then they rescinded. So, you know, I have that hanging over our head. But yes, Mayor, go ahead and announce who it will be. We'll be bringing it, as Mayor said, to the August agenda for your approval of that position.
The individual is named Shanna Schultz. Shanna Schultz?
Shannon Schultz?
Shanna.
Shanna Schultz.
Shanna Schultz. I would suspect that Trustee Uranovich, you may have met her a time or two. She worked for the city of Albuquerque for many years. She worked for the council services for a long time. One of the principal, if you will, architects and, if you will, for the new IDO process that the city went through. Whether that is, folks have, you know, can say good or bad about that, but the point simply is that she has a tremendous amount of experience in planning and zoning and rewriting, et cetera. So to your point, Trustee Kiefer, and actually to all of you all, we've all been through this, I think she'll be a great asset for us in rewriting a lot of our codes, and will help us tremendously in that work. And so John will give up his hat here very shortly and only be our administrator. But
He's looking really sad.
he's been a trooper in wearing multiple hats. But anyway, that she will be here on Monday. And so at some point, I suspect between now and the approval, you all will get an opportunity to meet and interact with her. So I just wanted to, took some time to get there, and I'm pretty happy that we were able to get there.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, with that being said, and I will go to our next order of business, which is trustee reports. And so we'll start with Trustee Benavides.
Yes, okay. A resident, and I won't name the name because he probably doesn't want me to, made a pretty interesting suggestion, and because we've been talking about how do we do surveys, right? And some of the surveys are not all that scientific, but maybe a way to do it, not totally scientific, but a good way to get the public to comment on specific things is to use our publication that we have already, the Village Vision, and put questions in there for feedback. And you could put a QR code in there, and if you wanted to make it more scientific, then person would have to identify their name and residence to prevent from multiple people, voting, or the same person voting multiple times, right? Or people outside the village from voting, right? But I think we could get useful information from the public in that manner, okay? Let me talk about Old Village Hall. So I recall Old Village Hall back when, you know, our son was in Boy Scouts. And at that time, so we're talking, oh my gosh, over 25 years ago, it looked pretty run down, and it looked like a big safety hazard. You know, wasn't sure if the electrical was quite right. The floorboards looked like they were rotting, and it looked pretty bad. But you made a pretty good argument, George, that, hey, this was our original village hall, and it's worth preserving. And I agree with that. And as long as we can do it so that it's no longer hazardous, I think it is worth serving. Let's talk about signs in front of vineyards now. So it was called to my attention by a village resident that there is a sign that a winery put on a vineyard, okay? And it's Vara, okay? So on one hand, we should encourage that sort of thing, because I think it makes people that have vineyards a little bit more excited about doing what they're doing, okay? But the signs need to follow our sign ordinance, or they need to be tasteful, and if we need to adjust it, we should think about that. So we shouldn't discourage it, but we should give some good guidance about what that should look like. Not anything we have to decide now, but just, you know, in the future, we should think, I'm hoping that you will come before us with some suggestions about what to do about that, John. Okay, let's see. I am planning on attending the Middle Rio Grande levee improvements meeting on July 28th at the Raymond G. Sanchez, unless something unforeseen comes up. I mean, I think we should be aware of what's happening there. And finally, one final point, the public menace, and I think this is the address, 605 Tecose. God, it is really shameful, and I really feel bad for the residents, and I hear, well, our hands are tied. I mean, sometimes you have to take a little risk if it's not too risky, you know, and just do something about it. So, and I know the attorney warned us that there's an issue with being able to put a lien against it, but you know, there's always some risk, but is it a risk small enough that it's worth taking? Let's do that. Give the neighbors some relief. That's all I have.
Very good. All right, we'll go to Trustee Kiefer.
Thank you, Mayor. I really don't have much tonight. I think I kind of said it all in my planning and zoning. I am super excited. So I did go on a vacation up to a mountain community. And I took tons of pictures because it was the coolest thing to see Walmart looking like a log cabin. And Starbucks looked like a log cabin. And I thought, you know, if there has to be some planning and zoning ordinances, I would assume, in this community to force the designs of these retailers and of these buildings to do it, that it kind of gives me hope on something maybe we can do for 4th Street. You know, if we really, truly want to preserve our own identity, we're not a mountain community, I know that. I mean, we're not gonna have log cabins, but we can find what Los Ranchos is with farming, ranching, agriculture, you know, Route 66, kind of get that whole vibe and really structure a main street that really reflects who we are. So I took tons of pictures to kind of share with my fellow trustees and mayor. And to Ms. Rael's point on crosswalks, in this community, I thought it was super cool. It was almost a lot like Pagosa. They had the crosswalks that lit up, but they also had the flags that you grab the flag and you hold it as a pedestrian to get people's attention. And I mean, you're crossing this was a 6-lane road, that we could do something as simple as that for Rio Grande. You know, it's amazing how much just holding a little flag really gets drivers' attention. So that's really about all I had just excited about the planning and zoning opportunities after seeing some interesting designs.
Very good, thank you much. Well, I'm gonna go to trustee Ranovich.
Sure you don't want Renault?
You
A
got-
couple
You got
things.
30 seconds.
I hope all of you are aware that we're having some APS meetings. One is coming up on the 22nd. I was very distressed to see that APS only sent letters to the people directly adjacent to Taylor. So it went to like 6 people or 8 people. Word has spread. I don't know if there's one over in your neighborhood, Jennifer. So he didn't talk about anything with Taft, but he did talk about Taylor. So it's the 22nd, and I'll send out the particulars, but it's the 22nd. I believe it's at 6 o'clock at Taylor Middle School. I can't believe that they would, well, I do believe it because APS is like that, but they didn't send any response to any of us. I don't know if they did to the village at all. I don't believe they did. But they're setting up this meeting, and so it's that day. So hopefully some of you can make it. I know you're interested, Frank. So there's that. And then I second what Trustee Benavides said about Tascosa. We just got to do something about that. It's ridiculous that we're being held hostage to someone who's doing that to the neighbors and their own house for so long. We've got to take a leap of faith and do it, because it just can't go on. So I appreciate you saying that. Those are all I had tonight.
Okay. Trustee Renaud?
I go along with it totally, totally. I think it's something that we just need to address as soon as we can. The neighbors are just being really somewhat patient with us, but I think we need to be able to take some action. On a more positive note, Trustee Benavides and I both attended the event that was held over at the library. And it was sponsored by the Historical Society, and the presentation was done by David Montoya, who shared with all of us reflections on his family's experience here in the village, and also shared a number of the artifacts that we were able to see and touch and better understand about their experience in the village. It was well attended. And I would certainly encourage folks to continue to follow it and to attend. The another piece is that the village is in fact having its own lavender festival. The first weekend was last weekend. The second weekend is this weekend. So I hope that we come out to support it. And I know that, that the community farm is going to be having their dinner at the barn, I believe on Saturday evening. But folks from the village are, folks from the village are also going to be there in order to be able to promote their wares as well to those who attend. The other thing is that I was still rather kind of intent on following what's going on with Easy Fiber. And I know from the note here that there's another company that wants to come into the village as well. And the city of Albuquerque just allowed the Easy Fiber, and I think there was one other company, to start work again. But I think that we need to be just very mindful about what's going on so that we monitor what's happening. And the the city of Albuquerque has published a set of rules that I think we should probably get a look at and then replicate here as well. So that, again, part of it is to connect with residents who are going to be impacted by by any kind of street closing, any kind of overhead, any kind of work that's going to be done in and around the community, so that we are able to, again, ensure that that our residents are going to be best served. You know, so I know that Easy Fiber has suggested to the city that they're going to be on track. They're also going to be uniformed. Their trucks are going to be identified. And so I think that, again, we need to make sure that that occurs here in the village as well.
Thanks for saying that. I did remember one other thing, Mayor. Sorry.
Go ahead, Trustee.
I just wanted to congratulate Nancy Nangeroni. I saw an article online that she invented I didn't know she was an MIT grad, but she invented a control system for swamp coolers, which I thought was really cool. And so congratulations to Nancy.
Yes, indeed. There was a write-up on the Albuquerque Journal, had a nice section this weekend, giving her some kudos for her work. You're right. Let me just sort of summarize a couple of things really quickly, and then we'll adjourn. On these two problem properties we have in our village, couldn't agree with all of you more, and quite frankly, as sympathetic as much as possible. I met with some of the neighbors on one of the properties on Schulte last week, and I know that John and our attorney are working diligently to get these two items in front of a court and get a super aggressive. Fred has been helpful in identifying opportunities for us to and how to structure this program so that we can do some work over there. Those two, and you guys are all right. I mean, the neighbors shouldn't be able to have to put up with what they've been putting up for so many years. So I appreciate their patience and you all's patience on this. It's not, obviously, it's been here. I think I got the document for one of the places. It was since 2015, in particular on one of them, and that's just way too long for government. But nonetheless, we're working on it. Hopefully, get something done very soon. I also wanted just to say that that as it relates to these telecoms coming in, very well aware of that. I've already requested the copies of if you will, of the requirements that the city of Albuquerque has implemented. A couple of things that are interesting about the city's, if you will, approach. They're basically, because they've awarded so many contracts, they all want them to have a common trench.
Oh, yeah.
So that they can all put their line in the same hole. The challenge for us, obviously, is that we're not, these companies obviously work as much as we all need all our fast responses on our computers, et cetera, and internet service. They go to where the biggest benefit is, right? So they're going to do the more affluent neighborhoods. They're going to do the business community areas first. And they'll eventually get to everyone else, but they're further down the line. So there are some of the requirements that the city has put in their structure that probably they don't work for us necessarily, but there are some things that do. And we're going to be looking at those and making sure that we hold them accountable. Gigabyte, which is the one that's a subsidiary, or it's a subsidiary from AT&T, came in last week. They came in to talk to us about wanting to do a work here in the village. They've indicated that they primarily are going to try and use existing utility poles as opposed to trenching to try and get through most, especially on 4th Street. They're not quite sure on Rio Grande what that looks like, given what we just talked about earlier. We should probably have a conversation about that. But obviously, the real challenge for our neighborhoods and for our community is getting that, if you will, that service into the home, which means all the small little neighborhood roads, et cetera, they may have to trench in some of those. They are looking at micro trenching and some other aspects. But nonetheless, I agree with you all in the sense that we need to make sure we hold them accountable and that we stay on top of that. And then the last piece I would say, excuse me, is that Trustee Kiefer, the idea of creating what we want as an image is really super important, I think, for any community. You go to Santa Fe under their building structures, you know, height limitations, colors, et cetera. Some folks might say it's the extreme, but having that and then looking at some of the communities in other parts of the country, we ought to be thinking about what we want Los Ranchos to be to some extent. And that hopefully, as Ms. Schultz comes online, we'll have someone, they'll have some really good understanding of that. And you know, of course, that'll be a longer discussion on what we want our world to be. I want to just conclude by saying to all of you that we are right at the cusp of firing up, as I would say, our Main Street program. And I want to just inform the trustees and the community that we'll be holding very soon a meeting with all our business community members to get them organized, if you will, and to give them introduced to some of the work that we want to do as it relates to revitalization of particularly 4th Street, but obviously there are businesses other than just 4th Street, and really creating an opportunity for us to take advantage of what the state has with their Main Street program and to do some work in and around the village and to attract more opportunities so that, as Gail so carefully observed, so that our GRT continues to go up, and quite frankly, and so that our businesses are successful on 4th Street. And so stay tuned. We will get with you all and have that conversation and try and get our Main Street really to the next level. John's working on that information as we speak. So with that, there is a baseball game tonight. And so I appreciate all of you all staying on task and getting us through this budget. Seeing that there is no other items on our agenda, we need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
The motion is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Done. The time is 7:42. It's the All-Star game. What's that? Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.